Special thanks to Ali Qureshi at Lombard Toyota for providing this vehicle for review. Hey everyone, I'm Zen Big, this is Auto Group, and this is the 2018 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. This is a pretty expensive car. The way it sits, it's $54,000 I believe, and it has a 5.7 liter V8, of course naturally aspirated, and of course it has your 4x4 drivetrain. A couple other exterior things to note is the fact that it has this little footboard thingy that looks really nice. I really like this design, and you know, for the one that's the 4x4 Sport TRD, that one has 3 for some reason. I don't know why, but it has 2 in the back. Although this is the same, you know, double cab design, and you got a lot of legroom as well. You know, for you could fit so much stuff in here, and of course people very comfortably. Even the third row person, the third seat in the middle is also very nice and comfortable. It's got like this leather type seating over here. A couple of soft touch materials over here, like this stitching is really nice for the TRD and stuff. You know, you got bottle holders. It's a very durable and practical car. And of course, knowing Toyota, this is the infamous car this is the infamous car that has it has a huge reputation for being very reliable. It has some custom TRD wheels on it. They look really nice. I like this like matte black, like, you know, dark chrome finish that it has. And these are very nice and thick 275s in the front, but you can also get a wider tire and like a wide body type layout for the car. That's in the 4x4 Sport. So anyways, in the front, you know, it has this really cool TRD grill. I don't think the normal one has this. The normal one has like the lines in front, and of course for your cooling and stuff, it's got some vented areas over here, and a top, you know, like a hood scoop over here, which is really cool. These are your LED fog lights. They look really cool. That's really nice, and they're all like fitted in there really nicely and this stuff. Anyways, let's move on to the inside now. Okay, so for the interior of the car, it has this black leather interior, right, with combination of soft touch materials. And inside, this big storage. Look how much room that is. Even the little hatch for it is really big, and it's nice and light. You could close that up. You got more cup holders, another one over here for something else. You got all your climate controls are super easy. I probably shouldn't put that at cold since it's like 10 degrees outside, but over here, you know, you got more of your climate, where it's coming from, the speed of it and everything. And in the home screen, this is without the navigation. This is without the navigation one. Oh, dang it.
अंदर बैठ के दिखा दो ना.
Okay.
बैठ के दिखा दो.
Sounds really good, very nice and loud. Why is this still beeping? Okay, anyways, so as I was talking about the touchscreen system, on your home page, it has, of course, your app section, right? You go to navigation, and then here's your navigation system, just like my car and the ES and stuff. And then you got all your, wow, this is really nice and sensitive. You know, it's not like that in the older Toyota and Lexus cars, I think. So that's really cool. And then you got your vent controls over here, and you got nice glove compartment over here as well. It's pretty nice. What else? So you got some tow haul options for, you know, if you're like taking a trailer with you and stuff, trailer brake output, blah, gain and stuff, and traction control is right there. Oh yeah, so the window also goes down in the back, but right now because of the snow I can't really show you, like, you know, it's going down because it's probably a little bit frozen. Anyways, I think we should probably go on the drive. Oh, actually, let me also show you the legroom in the back. So sitting in the back, there's a lot of good room, and closing it is nice. It's like a very heavy door, but look how much legroom there is. Like, I can just absolutely relax. It's very like an S-Class would be in terms of legroom. And this is just, you know, a little like armrest thingy. It's pretty good. It's got a little leather hoopy thing as well, and then you got your vent controls down here as well. It's a very nice, you know, interior, especially for the price of this car. What you're getting is, like, you know, a whole off-roading car with a very nice practicality, of course, knowing that it's Toyota and it's a big truck. Anyways, let's go ahead and drive it now. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, time to drive this car. I've been really looking forward to driving this Tundra because it is a 5.7 liter V8, which we drove in the Lexus LX 570. But it's not, that car is such a luxurious car in that it's not one of these crazy, you know, Raptor competitors or anything. So right now, I mean, there, of course, you know, you got your 4H, 4L for your, you know, 4-wheel drive low and 4-wheel drive high. But this is in 2-wheel drive right now. I mean, oh, the brake pedal is nice and sensitive. That's good. And it just sounds really, really good. And you get a nice view of what you're doing in this car. And I thought visibility would be a huge issue. Like, you know, maybe for parking it is, as I have now, you know, experienced when someone else was parking this and I was in it. It was very, very, you know, hard to tell what's going on. But, you know, it's still very easy to drive in terms of when you're actually driving it out on the road, which is great. And I really like the way this car is set up because it's this super capable car and it feels just like a normal Toyota or anything, you know, the way it has. So in terms of the suspension, the ride quality is actually really good for this car, and it's not like jarring or anything. And this is the TRD. And the cool thing about this car is that, you know, when you take it off-roading, of course it's going to have the suspension feeling that you want and how it's going to drive. But at the same time, when you're on the road, it doesn't beat you up at all, and it's better than, I remember we drove the 4Runner Limited, and that was a little bit more stiff, probably because of the bigger wheels that it had compared to this car. So that's very good that this car does not have that. So in terms of the steering feel and response, it's not as good as the LX 570, which actually felt like very connected and stiff and stable with the car. It's nice and loose. It can be heavy. It's hydraulically assisted, and the cool thing about this car is the fact that since the hood is nice and large, and you can see, it's easy looking towards your right and left as to where you're going when you're making a turn or something. Obviously, it's not exactly the most beneficial when it comes to how far you stop behind a car because it's so big. But I really, really like the way this car feels just to sit in it, and it's actually much better than I expected in terms of driving this car around. With the steering, it's nice and light, and it gives decent feedback. Okay, so in terms of brake effort, the car is nice and sensitive when you're going normally, and it doesn't exactly stop it in a crazy way like a lot of the new Lexus products are that we've been driving. Like in those cars, the immediate bite is pretty intense and it stops the car really, really quickly, but they later on become more and more unsensitive. So I like the way the brakes are set up in this car because they're sensitive when you want them to be, and not sensitive when you don't want them to. Okay, so what I really, really like about this car is the fact that it's so awesome in terms of the engine's power and the throttle response. And that's really good. It doesn't have any of that stupid delay that a lot of new cars have. And I really, really like that. And it's in 2-wheel drive right now, so it feels nice and smooth, and this is just how it should be. Obviously, the weather conditions and the tires being cold, we're not going to go crazy in 2-wheel drive or anything. But we're also going to have to try out, of course, our 4-wheel drive modes and stuff. But just starting off in 2-wheel drive, I mean, this car is a fantastic car to drive. I mean, you know, it's like a really, really nice pickup that you could just drive around and have a lot of fun with. I love the engine sound. It's so good and so smooth to drive this car. Obviously, it's a big, heavy thing. It's not like a handler or anything, but it's just so, it's almost like fun to drive because of its sound and its throttle response and the smoothness of the car. And these tires are really good too. They're not too loud, they're not too intrusive or anything, which is really nice because they are pretty crazy off-roading tires. That's awesome. When you hear how loud it is, it's really, really fun to drive actually. I'm loving it in terms of it's the way it feels so natural in response and handling and everything. Obviously the steering rack is slow. That's so good. Obviously, you know, traction control is on, so it's gonna cut a little bit of your power, especially with these conditions right now, since it is snowing and it is 17 degrees. Feels like probably negative something because my hands are freezing. I know what they feel like, but it's awesome. Now let's actually try it out in 4-wheel drive, so I'm gonna just stop real quick. what I love about this car is that the gear feel is fantastic. Putting it into the into drive is just awesome, and it sounds great. It's like bass filled. It's just awesome. I'm loving driving this car. Look at how instant the throttle response is, and how loud and intrusive that is in the interior. Like, nobody really is gonna be like, oh, you know, I want a loud exhaust in a car like this, but it's so nice and loud that it's awesome. For this, we can probably turn traction control off because it is in 4-wheel drive. Man, the visibility out the front windshield, and just looking at that hood scoop in the front is amazing. It's a great view that you have when you're driving this thing. And it's kind of crazy the way the steering wheel is so light. Wow, what an excellent car. I really don't want to stop driving this car. There are a lot of reviews where I'm like, okay, let's just end it, you know, because this car is good, but it's not amazing, and it's not really a big deal. But this is one of those cars that I keep wanting driving, you know, and that's not the case for a lot of reviews. When it downshifts, it's great, and I love naturally aspirated engines. We were just talking about that, me and my dad, before we were coming over here, was the fact that, man, these old engines, the one with just all the grunt at the higher RPM, are the best. Because turbochargers, they're great and all, and they're fun, but you can't enjoy them as much on the road because that they get full torque at like 2,000, 2,500 RPM usually, you know. So this car, the cool thing about this car is the fact that it doesn't make that much torque, really. Can you just, oh my gosh, some people. See, the thing about this car is that since it's so large and awesome, you just feel like running over people's cars, but obviously you can't do that. Like, I really wanted to do that because this guy was just merging in so slow, but as long as you are sane in the mind in terms of driving a car like this, it's such an awesome car. I love it, and I totally recommend it to anybody who wants to get it. I've heard a lot of fuss about the new Raptor, and it's probably really good, but without driving it, I think this car drives excellent. Okay, now we're in 2-wheel drive again. All those thingies felt like the plate and everything, but it's, wow, man. I mean, I'm just so impressed by the way this car picks up, and it's so smooth and so loud and so fun. I really like that about this car. I wish I could put the windows down and the rear window down just to hear like the exhaust and stuff. But it's honestly a great car. I would totally recommend it to anybody who's wanting to get any type of, you know, just pick up utility vehicle. And it doesn't matter, like, you don't have to get the TRD Pro or anything like this one is, because you can still get this awesome 5.7 liter in the other models as well. So relaxed and so fun. I love how there's not really a pitch change to the engine. It's like an AMG car, which just keeps building in sound and sound quality, but not exactly like pitch like a normal naturally aspirated engine. It's just very like bah, just the whole time. I love that. It's so weird driving this car because it's so good. And it hooks up great. Obviously you have traction control on and stuff. It's so cold outside, but this is a great car to drive. That's all I can say. That's pretty much it for this review. come with the 2019 Tundra TRD Pro has been fantastic. I think this car is absolutely awesome to drive. Super capable, right? Off-road and everything. It's got these really cool footboard thingies that I really like, and of course, you know, the cargo space is fantastic. I really like that about this car. I think it's genuinely a great buy. You should go ahead and buy one right now. Just get the 5.7 liter V8 in this car. It's awesome. You don't have to get the TRD Pro necessarily. I think it's a great car. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Auto Group. Make sure to like and subscribe for weekly videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Also, special thanks to Ali Qureshi once again for providing this vehicle for review.
लेकिन वो मेरे ग्लव्स
ये
नहीं भाई अभी सबको चाहिए वहाँ पे, अभी तो क़यामत आ जाएगी।
तुम्हारे कहाँ है
गाड़ी
अच्छा, हमें स्टार्ट करना है।
किसको?
इसको ना, ये स्टार्ट करना है कि पहले ग्लव्स लगे?
तो हाँ अच्छा।
ओह अच्छा, इसका बस स्टार्टर करना।
बैटरी में।
But other things over here are your पता नहीं क्या है भाई।
पहले तो इनकी पार्किंग लॉट में रहो, फिर बाद में जाएंगे।
टर्निंग रेडियस कितना अच्छा है ना? थोड़ा चलो इसको इसी पे चलाते हैं, अभी सही है ना?